Robin Hoodlum was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Short Cartoon in 1948, same year the film was released. And I have to say, of all of the nominations for that year, I think this one is by far the weakest link. I have very few thoughts about this film, or very few positive thoughts. Now, that's not to say it's a terrible production or it's a bad interpretation of Robin Hood, or, that it's, well, historically or mythologically accurate in some ways, but it's just not very good. I found the characters to be quite dull, the narrative plot points to be not that interesting, and the animation style to be, compared to its contemporaries, quite weak. And I'm not saying every studio at the time had to live up to the same standards, but for a nominee in that category, it seems a bit weird. This was directed by John Hubley, and obviously it's based on the story of Robin Hood. We do have the Fox and the Crow here. The Crow um, is the sheriff, and Robin Hood is the fox. Now, this works well for me, being a big fan of the Disney film, with Robin Hood being the fox in the Disney film. So for me, that kind of worked really well visually, because if it had been the other way on, the Disney brain in me would have found it kind of unusual. Not that that's any fault of the film, or not that that would have been a fault of the film, but these things kind of connect in the brain. And I really like the colours. I think the colours are very effective. The colours of the forestry, really beautiful. Robin Hood's outfit I thought looked really nice. The fox's kind of orangey, coppery tones, really nice, really pretty. It's not meant to look 100% realistic. Certainly the backgrounds. I like the animation style in parts, but the actual characters' faces, their facial expressions, I didn't really find that good. I didn't think it was very well done. Obviously, significantly better than anything I could ever do. There's still talent there, but again, compared to the quality of the facial expressions, the animation, the editing of facial expressions we see in other films at the time, I just don't think it lived up to par. The way the story is told is relatively straightforward, it's relatively clear, you get the message about who Robin Hood is, but I just didn't find that it was that engaging. Or Robin Hoodlum, if you like. I wasn't that bothered about the character. If this had been the first ever version of a Robin Hood-esque story that I'd seen, I probably wouldn't have taken that much interest in the character thereafter. So thankfully I've seen probably live action versions before I saw the Disney version, but thankfully I was aware of Robin Hood. So yes, we're asking them to pack in a lot of information into 6 or 7 minutes. It does cover a lot of ground. So I think it covers a lot in a short space of time. It does utilise some of the key plot points very well, but other aspects of it I found to be quite dull. So for me, it's very hit and miss. It's completely middle of the road, not that interesting. Maybe if it hadn't been nominated for an Oscar, my expectations might not have been so high, and I might have went into it with more of an open mind about what to expect. Whereas I was expecting something, Oscar nominee worthy. It's not terrible. By no means is it terrible, but it's definitely not as good as what I had led myself to believe. And certainly we've seen how to successfully do a Robin Hood animation from other studios. It's not terrible. If you're interested in Robin Hood, give it a watch. But if you have not really heard of the story of Robin Hood, definitely do not watch this one first.